bullets in your fucking face. That's how it works. If I see that fucking drone up here again, you're gonna have people with AKs going down the fucking road.
Wow.
Woo!
I wish I recorded that.
Oh, did I?
Oh, yes, I did. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about this little thing right here. ND filters. Well, not just ND filters, but this pack of ND filters came with my DJI Air 2 drone. Now, don't ask me why, but this pack came with a 16, a 64, and a 256. Come on, DJI. I'm never gonna use a 64 or a 256. That's like, I can barely even see through that. So what I use is the 16, and I noticed that there was a lot of scenarios where the 16 was too much and I didn't have anything less. So I'm gonna go to the DJI store today and see if they can get another pack of these. I know that there is one that comes with a 4, a 6, and an 8 or something, actual useful NDs, and I'm gonna try to get one. But today I'm also going to test out what it's like not using an ND filter. And I know that without an ND filter you can't stick to the 180 degree rule, so that's what I'm going to be testing. I'm going to go fly the drone out this window right here, out this door, out into the city of San Jose, and I'm going to do it first with my ND16 and shoot it, using the 180 degree rule, and that's what I've been doing. It's a fairly bright day, but there's some clouds, so it'll be a good example of a pretty classic Costa Rican day. I'm also gonna do it without an ND filter and totally disregard the 180 degree rule and just pump up that shutter speed. So that'll be the first test, testing what that actually looks like. Does it look less cinematic, or does it look fine? Just because you're flying a drone, you're really far away from everything. You're not going to be seeing a lot of movement in the shot. At least you're not going to see like a person moving or a car moving really all that much to really need the motion blur. So we're going to test that out, see if it looks much different. And then the other test I'm going to do is I'm actually going to test the standard color profile versus the Cine-like profile. I've been using the Cine-like profile pretty much all the time because that's what I do on my Sony camera. I shoot in log, or I shoot in Cine 4, something flat that I can color grade. But I shot the other day in Cine-like and I noticed it was really grainy, and I've been kind of noticing that, like, more noise in my videos, my drone shots. And I read somewhere that Cine-like has more noise than the standard profile. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I tried it out, and these are the shots that I got. So I was surprised at how good these look just right out of the box. I did no, color grading to them. I think I might adjust the highlights a little bit, but saved a lot of time in editing. I do a lot of stock footage and upload to Black Box Global. I spend a lot of time editing that footage, so if I can save some time and not even have to color grade, that's amazing. So I'm gonna test that out and see if we can see a difference between the noise levels, and also I'm gonna color grade it and see how the colors look too, just on like a standard color grade, you know, not going for like a really crazy cinematic look. So the interesting thing of flying from this 26th floor apartment in San Jose is that it's super windy up here all the time, it seems like. Today seems a little bit better, but I can still hear the wind like whipping through the apartment. And so landing back in here is pretty scary. I almost cut myself with the propeller in my face last time because it was like flying sideways into the window. So hopefully we don't crash. I did it. Sounds like my neighbors are freaking out. They're wondering what the hell's going on. But that's okay because they're always smoking weed and it's coming in our apartment. So that was actually, I ended up doing the test for Cine-like versus standard color profile. So I did all the same shots on both and we'll test that out afterwards. Now I'm gonna pop in a new battery because that wind just like sucks it out of the batteries. And we're gonna go without an ND filter, just pump up that shutter speed, forget the 180-degree roll, and let's see how that looks.
You have a drill.
Yeah.
Dan, give me your fucking drill right now, or your SD cards, or you're gonna have serious fucking issues.
Why is that?
First of all, you can't fly a drone outside of this building. First of all, there's invasion of privacy. She was naked, I've been naked, with your drone out the window. It's not the first time either. You live here. It's not the first time either. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I won't do it anymore.
But it's not that simple. Bullets in your fucking face. That's how it works.
I'm not pointing in the window, I'm flying over the city right now.
If I see that fucking drone up here again, you're gonna have people with AKs going down the fucking road. It's not a joke.
Yeah, I won't do it anymore.
It's not a fucking joke.
That's flat back in right now, just to let you know. Wow. Woo! I wish I recorded that. Oh, did I? Oh, yes, I did. Wow. I don't know if you guys just heard what just happened, but I just got bitched out big time for flying my drone outside of this window. The downstairs neighbors just came by. Hopefully you guys heard all that. But the guy like threatened to kill me basically because he said that his girlfriend was naked and that I was filming his girlfriend, which is the last thing I was doing. I was doing a fucking drone test, as you guys saw. I recorded all this, and it's funny how, I mean, I understand, but everybody thinks that when you're flying a drone around them that you're recording them, and it's, you know, it's just paranoia. But like, you can't even fucking see people. You know, people are like ants. I could, you know, you can see in that video, you can't see anybody at all. So anyway, that was the most insane reaction I've gotten to flying my drone ever in like the 10 years I've been flying drones. I'm a little shook up because I literally just had this guy threaten to bring AK-47 up here and fucking kill me. So I'm looking at these shots now after all that craziness that went down. It kind of cut my test short, but we definitely have some things to look at here. And I am surprised at how much the standard profile pretty much looks damn near the same as the color graded cine-like profile. I thought that I would get a lot more dynamic range with the cine-like. I'm not really seeing that, at least in these test shots. Again, it was a cloudy day, so there wasn't like super blown out highlights. It was kind of a perfect lighting day anyway, so under other conditions, you know, a blue sky, sunny day where it's super bright, the cine-like might have made a difference in the dynamic range. As far as the color goes, I feel like they're pretty much the same, more or less. I mean, they're a little bit different. Obviously, my color grading is going to be a little bit different than the color grading of the camera. I definitely noticed that the standard profile is quite a bit like sharper and more crisp, and the cine-like has a little bit more soft look to it, which I tend to like a little bit better. It has a little bit more kind of cinematic. The word, of course, cinematic is thrown around a lot, but it has a, you know, a more softer look to it, and I kind of like that better. But I'm surprised to see at how well they stack up against each other, and I'm definitely going to use the standard profile more. Especially on just projects that I don't need it to be, you know, perfect, or, you know, I'm not going for a specific look, or I'm just, you know, uploading to stock sites and trying to save time. So if you've never shot in standard, give it a shot. I was surprised at how amazing it looks. So on the other test, I didn't really get to do as much of it as I would have liked. And I didn't really test it under the conditions I think that would affect it that much anyway, but with pumping up the shutter speed like I did, I pumped it all the way up to 1,000. In a shot like this, a wide drone shot where you're just pushing forward very slowly, I mean, I don't see any difference. But I will say that testing this under a circumstance where I'm flying lower to the ground, tracking a subject running, or a bicyclist, or a car driving, those are the scenarios that I think the shutter speed would really affect the overall look. You know, there wouldn't be any motion blur in it if I pumped it up to 1,000, and it just wouldn't look very nice. It wouldn't look very smooth and cinematic. But if you're just doing normal shots and you're just taking off in your drone and you're wanting to get beautiful scenic shots of an area and you don't have the right ND filter, or you don't even want to mess with the ND filters, you know, I can't really tell a difference between these two shots. And so in that case, I'm gonna, you know, probably stress less about ND filters on my drone. If I'm just wanting to get, you know, some wide shots of the city or of some nature, I may just not worry about my ND filter. And the beauty of actually not having the ND filter, you know, the one benefit is that if there is slightly lower light, unless you have the perfect ND filter, which I don't have because DJI didn't give it to me, you run the risk of introducing noise in your shadows. And so if you do it without an ND filter and you just pump it up to literally the perfect exposure, you're not going to be affecting that noise level in your shadows and worried about getting too dark of an image. Lastly, finally closed this whole case with the drone, and paid a $350 fee from the building. Apparently it was a rule here, even though it wasn't stated anywhere in the rule book or anything that I've seen online through Airbnb. So I kind of feel like I got screwed. I'm a little annoyed by it, but at the same time, it is a good lesson that you should always check the rules ahead of time, where you're gonna fly, and to pretty much assume these days that if you're flying in a city and you haven't gotten prior authorization, or you haven't specifically found if it's okay to fly there, that it's probably not okay to fly there. So if you live in a city, I'm sorry, that sucks with having a drone, because you just literally can't use it. I live in a small town, beach town, and I've never once had a problem with flying it anywhere and everywhere at any time. You know, it depends on where you're at, and you can't really expect that, you know, if it's okay to fly at one place, that it's okay to fly it everywhere else. And to be considerate of people's feelings of how, when there's drones around, people think that they're being watched. You know, it is a reality, and you need to, you know, be conscious of that and make sure to not piss too many people off. But I will say that you're going to piss people off no matter what if you fly a drone. So, you know, it's a trade-off. But do the best you can to look up regulations ahead of time. Don't make the mistake I did. I made it so you don't have to do it, so you don't have to get your life threatened and a $350 ticket. So be smart, be safe, and I will see you in the next video.